Ross's tips for fantasy surfing, and it's always a tough job, Ross, because you've got to rest 3 people. And it's a bit of a kick in the guts for those individuals.
It is. I have a big disclaimer before every article I write for that piece, because let's face it, everyone on the top 34, they're amazing surfers, so it's not necessarily a thing where you're like, yeah, sit this dude, he's not going to do well. You know, it's just you got to find your favorites, and there's the main thing, especially for Pipeline, is there's guys that really light up at certain surf spots, and Pipeline is the epitome of that. So I talked about Gabriel, you know, at the top of the show this morning, how he competes so well out here. He is very smart, and that's why I love him to go really deep in that Tier A. Tier B is where it's really interesting, because I think some of the favorites to win this contest are in that tier. John, Kelly, you know, there's a chunk of guys there. They're the favorite in that event to win. So that's going to be a no-brainer. But the one thing that kind of concerns me with John, even though, like, when I think of Pipe, I think, okay, John, he's kind of sitting at the top of the hill. He is the benchmark. He's the one that everyone wants to surf like out there. But it is a contest, and he's never won the Pipe Masters. And I think sometimes, you know, we love watching John and how he goes pedal to the metal in every event. But it can, you know, sometimes it can go against you, because you're pulling in so deep, you're taking off so late, and you know, it is kind of one of those things where you're either going to get a 10 or a 4. That being said, John is so comfortable at Pipe. I'm going to go ahead and throw that 3 out the window. I really do think he is the overwhelming favorite to win this event.
And even though he hasn't won the Pipe Masters, he has won that Vulcan Pipe Pro 4 times, and he won that event at the start of this season.
Yeah, you know, even though it's a qualifying series event, that field is as deep as you would find anywhere else in the world. So I mean, at Pipeline. So again, winning there, you would say that he is definitely a favorite. John is very comfortable, and we always talk about, you know, guys that are specialty at a certain spot, that sometimes it becomes an issue because you get a little bit too picky. And you know, that might be the case with John, is that you know what the good waves look like, and if you don't have them during your heat, you end up sitting around. So again, John's going to probably have to figure, you know, that part of it out and compete like Gabriel Medina would.
Medina was amazing last year at all the events we thought would challenge him. He stepped up, and Pipe was another one where he almost took the win.
Yeah, so what's so impressive about Gabriel Medina is obviously he's not from Hawaii, and you know, he's relatively a newbie here. He hasn't been coming to Pipe for that long. He's still so young, but you would never know it. That's what Gabriel Medina, you know, he kind of brings that mentality every surf spot he goes to. It's amazing how right away he can learn how to pick apart a reef, a surf spot, where to sit, which waves to take. It's amazing how he just gets tapped into a surf spot, and that's the same here at Pipeline. And that's the big part of the deal here at Pipe, is catching the right waves.
Everyone thought last year, up against Mick Fanning and Kelly Slater, if there was waves at backdoor, Gabriel's chances for holding on to that ratings lead by the end of the contest were going to be over. But his best rides came on the back end.
Yeah,
so true.
Yeah, again, so it's and a lot of it is because, and this is not just Pipeline, he is a freak with knowing which wave to take. He is so smart and tapped into the ocean.
Another surfer that you had on your list was CJ Hobgood. He'll be surfing in the Pipe Masters for the last time. We've been on this magic ride with him throughout this year with his announcement of his retirement at the end of the season. And have a look at CJ's first heat.
Well, you got Kelly and Taj in there, and of course these guys have probably had 1,000 heats together. You know, I like about CJ for this one, you had him in his Tier C pick, is, you know, CJ obviously is very solid in left-hand barrels. We're going to have real Pipeline for pretty much this entire event. If you look at our surf line forecast, which we'll get into in a moment, there's going to be plenty of surf.